Welcome to Working the Dash, the show where we explore the journey of life, one moment at a time. Each of us has a dash, a symbol of our time on this planet, represented by the years we were born and the years we leave behind. But what truly matters is how we fill that dash with purpose, passion, and impact. But it's not just about the destination, it's about how we navigate the journey. Join me as we engage in thought-provoking conversations that inspire action and ignite change. Whether you're seeking motivation, looking for practical advice, or simply want to hear fascinating stories from diverse voices, Working the Dash is your go-to source. Every moment counts. Your dash is unique, and it's time to make it meaningful. Together, let's explore how to live with intention, embrace our challenges, and celebrate our victories.
Welcome, friends. My name is Destiny. I am TK's virtual assistant. I am excited that you are joining in for a conversation designed to empower your greatness. Grab a friend. TK is on the way.
Well, what's up, everybody? It is your girl, TK, and I am so happy to be sharing this Sunday night with you. Let's get in here. That's right. It is time for the live. The live is simply help. I'm raising my parents. We're going to be joined tonight by a very special guest. And before we get there, I just want us to take a moment to get your friends, tap your neighbors, let them know that we are on, and I want you all to get inside of what is going to be happening. Tonight, we are in the first of a few more episodes of the churchish edition for Clergy Appreciation Month, and I am very excited. I have all of the feelings right now that's happening. I'm excited. I'm nervous. But most importantly, we're going to have a great time. So this is going to be an exceptional program tonight, and you do not want to miss it. So please do me a favor, like, share, love. Let's get in here. And I also want to stop right here tonight and also welcome Freedom Radio. Freedom Radio is a platform that we're also on as well. So welcome to my new Freedom Radio family. Thank you all for inviting me and having me here. I am very happy tonight to share time with you. So let's get into why we are here this evening. Why are we here? Oh my goodness. We're here because we are going to be talking about raising our parents. And let me tell you something about raising our parents. I need every adult child to get their parent locked in to what we're going to be sharing tonight, because not only will we share our thoughts and feelings and how we're going to be preserving their legacy, but you know what? We got to get them some instructions. We need to get them some instructions so they can listen to what we are trying to say. In any case, welcome to, again, the first episode of Churches entitled Help, I Am Raising My Parents. And this is the podcast where the roles now, we're going to be talking about how the roles have been reversed, the prayers have multiplied, and we as the adult children of ministry leaders are all of a sudden navigating elder care, church bulletins, emotional baggage, all of this now before that church service begins. So if you have grown up like I have grown up as a pastor's daughter, I think all of the time how my parents, they have all of the answers. Buckle up, because tonight we are not going to be just talking about Medicare plans, but we're going to be talking about now how to get these sanctified parents of ours to listen to what we have to say. It's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. And it's going to be something that I think we can certainly learn from with one another. And I am so happy tonight to have my friend and my brother. Tonight, we're welcoming somebody to this stage who wears multiplicity of hats. He wears them very well with a lot of grace, a lot of wisdom, and a touch of swagger. Don't tell him I said that. Yes, he does. He is a father and he's a husband to my beautiful friend, Tanisha Sims, and he's a pastor, a community leader. And yes, we also call him Papa. That's right, because he is also a grandfather. But listen, he's a very young person, but don't let this nickname of Papa Sims fool you, because he's a powerhouse in his own right. I also call him a media guru because he actually knows how to assist in that area, amplifying the voices and stories of other people. And he absolutely knows how to undergird media ministries. And also, he brings executive insight from his role at Thrivent, where we all know about Thrivent, where faith and finance meet purpose. So whether he's mentoring young leaders, preaching truth from the pulpit as a pastor of his amazing church in California, or just navigating the complexities of what we know as ministry and leadership along with his family, Pastor Ryan Sims brings a depth of knowledge, and he's actually a pretty fun person to have hanging around. I want to introduce to some and present to others my friend, my brother. We are, blood could not make us any closer. I am so excited tonight to introduce to everyone my friend, Pastor Ryan Sims. God bless you tonight, Pastor Sims.
Sir.
Yes,
it is so good to be here. It's good to see you. I know we don't live on the same coast, so it's good to see you and be here and be connected with you and hang out with you for a little bit. How are you?
I'm doing just fine. How are you doing this evening?
I'm doing well. And I didn't hear it, but somebody told me you just said I had a little bit of swag, so I'm gonna take it, put that in my pocket.
Well, listen, I don't know if I said that or not. However, I will not.
Hey, the rumors in the street.
Right. I will neither affirm or deny that it was said by me. However, yeah, you might carry just a little bit of swagger. But tonight, I'm very happy that you're joining me in this conversation, churchish, because it's very important that we understand the weight of adult children carrying now the load of taking care of our parents. And so I want to welcome you to this stage, but I also want you to give us just a little bit of background about yourself. And also I want you to share where your parents serve in ministry and how all of this comes about with us as the kids of leaders, but now we are the kids taking care of the parents. Welcome.
Absolutely. So my grandfather founded our church in the maybe 50s or 60s. My father then took over the ministry for many years, had a stroke in 2001. My mother then took over the church for I think about 16 years after that. And then I was pastoring. So there's decades in between those moments. But so I am the third generation, fourth leader within the ministry that I serve. My father was a superintendent, or is a superintendent emeritus in the Church of God in Christ. Most of you know my mother that are Kojic. I really just believe there's only Kojic folk on here, and that's something we bring it down. It's more than Kojic people in our world. But my mother is vice chair out there. Sims was vice chair of the AIM convention. So I come from a ministry family, and in my role in Los Angeles, serve as a pastors and elders council chairman. I'm a superintendent of the Impact District and hold a couple of roles in the national church. So that's, myself on the ministry side. But being a son in ministry to my parents, being a father in ministry, and being a grandfather in ministry, and a husband, it also extends my role to where I have to understand the tension of time, the tension of resources, the tension of availability, the tension of capacity when it comes to how I carry out my ministry roles versus how I engage with my family to ensure here it is, first ministry is managed properly. I can't be engaged in ministry and my house be torn apart. my family torn apart, my marriage torn apart. So I have a first ministry that I have to engage in that has to be done successfully. There's probably a lot to my story I could talk about, so I'm definitely here for whatever you want to engage in. But I think that's my heart, is the fact that I come from people that made family first, and in my ministry, I make family first.
That's really a powerful statement that you're sharing, that you make family first, because so many times in our roles as ministry leaders, we sometimes lose sight of the idea that our family is first, and we have worked so hard to save the world that our children fall by the wayside. And I want
Yeah.
to just take a moment here, and I just want to kind of debunk the idea that we were raised wrong, because a lot of people
Mm.
will say that as we were matriculating, that we stayed in church, and so obviously we did not have all of the luxuries of what we're doing right now, trying to raise children and encouraging parents now to ensure that their children have balanced lives and things of that nature. But let's right now clear the deck and debunk the
Yeah.
idea that we were not raised properly, because during our time of being raised, our parents only knew what they knew, right? And so
Yeah.
for us being raised in church, that is one of the things that pretty much kept us grounded, saved our lives, created who we are today in and for ministry. But I want
Yeah.
you to just talk a little bit about the notion of how we were raised,
Yeah.
Gen X,
Yeah.
versus now where we are in our nation, our society, and in our church
Yeah.
world at large.
So, to say we were raised wrong diminishes the idea of innovation. If you think about it, I'm gonna do this for you. I'll give you this example. I have a light that's shining on me. If I turn the light on off and I can quickly turn it on, I can't now say people that used candles before lights were made were living wrong. I can't say people that use fire before we can have a switch were living wrong. That would be silly of me to demonize the people that lived the best they could before innovation. And so when you look at the Christian world, it's evolving, it's innovating. But that does not mean that the people that came before us did it wrong. It means that's at the level where we were. There was a time where, if you've seen the movie, and I know that there's a bigger story there, but if you've seen the movie with why am I forgetting the name that quick? I hate being on air and you forget names. Makes you seem like you really are not as smart as you say you are. But the Nat Turner movie, where Nat Turner's preaching to slaves. So to say that you guys were listening to a slave preach to you as slaves and now we're free, us saying they were wrong would be silly. Because as innovation happens, as evolution happens, you change, you grow out of things, you move forward. And so now the places we are now are because of where we were. And so the ideas we have now, the notions we have now, the creativity we have now, the understanding we have now is built on the things that our parents did. It's not in spite of them, it's built on them. So it's innovation. So the fact that I know my daughter should be home doing her homework and not on the back pew doing her homework doesn't mean my parents did it wrong. It means that I have found new and innovative ways to make sure she has Jesus and an education. Right. And so now that I've found a new way, I've innovated, I've evolved, I know how to do it now. It means that I took their example and I just made it better. Every generation should make it better. So when you make something better and then you demonize the generation before you, you're dismissing the concept of innovation.
You know, that is such a powerful statement that you made. And I just want to go back.
Yeah.
You allowed me a flashback, because we had to do our homework at the church. There was no such thing as homework at home. Homework
No.
was done at church. And you know what? With all of that music and clapping and folks shouting, you had to pass. Like, you couldn't
Yeah.
fail.
Yeah. Yeah.
You could not shout and fail. You couldn't
Yeah.
be in ministry and fail. You could not be growing up and fail. And we had to do our homework at home. And I just want to share just a very transparent story here. I remember when the computer had first come out, we had a Tandy computer, and my mother packed up that computer and brought it to the church. We were in Germany, we were overseas, and we had to travel to church almost an hour up the highway. And my mother took that computer, plugged it in. It wasn't it was no, I have to stay at home.
Laptop.
That was the traveling laptop of that day. And so I just want to thank you for bringing that out, that it's not that it was wrong, but it is the fact that we have now evolved, and we know now over time, as my church member is in the back of me, coming into the choir stand, Coco has joined the live. So I just wanted to be shared here that innovation, evolution, and us actually embracing all of that has really helped us to do what we're doing now. But I want to move into a question about how you are navigating at this moment, helping your parents. You shared about your father having a stroke, and you shared about your mother having to take the church, and now you're pastoring that. What about those conversations that, we know that that's legacy, but that's legacy that almost is in a rushed element, right? Where you have to kind of pick up some things, and talking about now this idea or this notion that, hey, mom, dad, it's my time to take care of you. How do we get our parents to hear us and know that we are for their best interest, as opposed to just now wanting to boss them around?
Yeah. And I think, care comes from a place of, has to come from a place of respect, not a place of ownership.
Oh, wow.
And, I think when we use terminology, you're my mom, you're my dad, I'm going to make sure. I think that was the language that was used on us as children. Because you're my child, you won't. Because you're my child, you will. And I think that's the language that sometimes we give. When you're an adult, the language you want to hear is language of love and concern, or respect and concern, not ownership and concern.
Wow.
And you got to know the difference when speaking to your parents, so that you can still respect who they are in your life while caring for them. So what that looks like, just to give you an example, and this is a small example. My mom knows, and I've told her, anytime you're at dinner with me, don't ever pull out your wallet, right? So that'll never make her feel like I'm saying to her she can't afford something, you don't have money, nothing like that. We never have to have that tension of discussion, because I, with respect, I've laid out the framework of a way that we're going to care for you. And so I think those are conversations that happen before a concern, not in the middle of a concern. You remember when you fell and your mother said, I told you not to step on that area, right? And in the moment you felt in trouble and you were still hurting. They wanted to focus on your disobedience while they soothed your pain. Nobody likes that. And so we have to learn how to respect our parents enough to have concern prematurely, intentional concern that is prioritized prior to an event happening that pulls our concern in. What does that look like? I don't wait to talk to mom about, handling something in our house until it becomes a problem. I notice it and ask ahead of time, hey, mom, I'm noticing that those plants, if they're not watered, they may die. You want me to go water them? That's a different conversation than, mom, you didn't water your plants. I got to come over here every week and water these plants before they die. That's a different conversation. And I think we have to make sure that we're being intentional about bringing things up beforehand respectfully, and not in the moment where tensions are high. And that's communication one-on-one with anyone. You never bring up a challenge in the middle of the challenge, but you talk about it when in what I call seasons of peace, where people can take what you're sharing with them in a way that's constructive.
That's a lot of heavy nuggets when you talk about the ownership of that. And I think that's where a lot of us get off track. And I think, Pastor Sims, I'm just going to say this for the record. I think I've been in a place of ownership.
Yeah.
And you've helped me to unpack or really.
I got to ask this, though. You've been in a place of ownership with which one?
Both of them.
Oh, you in trouble. I was going to say you might get away with your dad, but your mom?
And, you know, that's the one. That's the one where I feel I have the largest pull, because when I think about my parents, I think about them, how they work and how they serve and how they minister, and how for so long I've never been able to voice my concern that I have felt, oh, you're being taken advantage of, or you don't need to do that, or, you know, let them go work and figure it out. You don't have to give as much as you're giving. You don't have to expand all of that energy. And, you know, sometimes the answers that I get back, or the response that I get back, is so unfavorable, because you're absolutely right. Although they know that I love them, and that I am speaking to them from a place of concern and respect, at that point, it is as if now I am completely in charge of their lives, which, if we really think about it, they still need a level of freedom, because for what it's worth, our parents who have given their lives to this church as we know it, or as we say it, the church is what they love. The church is where they are. And for us, the outside looking in, be it the fact that we put ourselves in that adult child positioning at that time, it's sometimes very difficult when we are saying, oh, you need to live your life, and oh, you need to, oh, mother and father, you're retired now, so why are you working so hard in this other area? And so I think my hazmat suit that I put on for my parents, I'm just going to throw a plug here. I wrote a book called I Am My Parents' Keeper, and it was birthed out of this idea that it's my time to take care of my parents, but I think my care has been a little rough, and I will just admit it. I'm going to admit it right here online.
Well, and let me say this, because I think there's two things that I'm hearing there. One is, if a person was to tell me in the middle of me doing something, their opinion about it, what I hear is I'm wrong. That's what I hear. That may not be what they're saying, but that's what I hear. And for our parents to hear you're wrong, it's going to immediately put them on the defense. Because I raised you, how am I wrong when this is the way that I've been doing things, raising you? And so your education, your good job, your good marriage, your good life came out of this type of behavior. Number one. So we got to be careful that we're not making them feel wrong, even though there may be a more efficient way. The other thing is, sometimes when you're telling somebody what to do out of your own thoughts, you miss out on context, which means they're not hearing it contextually to their exact situation. So if I'm not asking the right questions, but I'm first trying to give the right answers, I'm not speaking from a contextual perspective with mom and dad. So to ask the right questions is not to ask in a way that is questioning. Oh man, do I need to say it again? It's not asking in a way that's questioning. It's asking in a way that is curious. Woo. And it's the curiosity, the desire to know, that can position you for the right answer. So, you know, questioning could be, now what'd you spend your money on that for? You're not going to get a positive answer. But if I were to say, Mom, that's a beautiful hat. Where'd you get it from? Oh, you like this? I got it from Nordstrom. What do you plan on using? Oh, I'm taking it to the convention. Okay, so your next hat is on me. Right? So now I stopped mom from spending money on hats. I stopped her from spending money on hats, but I also didn't make her feel wrong for spending money on hats. And I think that's That's where we have to use that intelligence, that emotional intelligence, to understand we're dealing with people that raised us, not people that were raised by us. And so that transition has to be a bridge. It can't be a wall. It has to be a bridge. And once we make that bridge walk, once we walk over that bridge to help them see the value of us in their life, then they'll start to see value. And then we have to be ready for this. Hey, baby, I'm going to another conference. Where'd you get that last hat from? So now you have to be ready for the ownership of the care. Now you can move into ownership.
Wow.
Right. But you have, it has to be a bridge that moves us to that space.
I love the fact that you share that it has to be a bridge, because I think, and I'm using myself tonight. I think I'm receiving some nice free counseling. This is great.
And I'm speaking to myself too, because you know, me and mom get into it every now and then.
Every now
and then, you know, and I have to sit back and remember, number one, she's mom.
Right.
You know, I have to honor her. Number two, I'm her pastor. So I have to make sure that I still posture her as mom and not just a member. And then number three, I can't hear her concerns and leave them as her concerns. I have to make sure when I hear her concerns, I'm willing to give feedback on the stuff that is not a priority for me, but a priority for her, if I want her to listen to the things that are a priority for me and not a priority for her. I'm gonna say it again to make sure I said it right.
Yes,
I have to make sure that I listen to her and respond on things that are priority for her and not for me, so that she'll listen when things are a priority for me and not for her. So she says, I've been trying to get to Beverly's house all weekend. Instead of me saying, well, what you need to go to Beverly's house for? You already were at Beverly's house. For me to say, well, I'm going to send you money so you can get gas so you can go to Beverly's house. Not my priority, but it's hers. So let me pour into that. So now when I say, hey, this weekend, why don't you stay home and get some rest? She knows that I'm not doing it out of an ownership or control perspective. It's true care, because I respected your priority. So now there is a more of an open bridge for you to respect my priority in your life.
You know, this is really, this is tapping me in a way, because, you know, I've been scolding my parents.
I can only imagine.
I've been really scolding them, and you know, I'm hearing what you're sharing right now, and inside of this space, it's very important for not just myself, but for others out there. And thank you for those that are chiming in, and thank you for being here. And I want to also one more time welcome the Freedom Radio family, who I'm over there casting live as well as on YouTube, and of course here. Thank you all so much for chiming in. But Ryan, listen, I have not been as nice, I will say, in respecting the priority base, or respecting the bridge. And I feel like it's my turn now to try to repair the bridge. I believe that the wall has been an attempt. The wall has been an attempt because for us, looking at our parents aging, which is already hard, as you look at that and you watch certain things happen, and you're looking at this transition of life taking place right in front of you, the scolding from my perspective is a level of protection. It's a layer that I feel like I am utilizing. But come on.
I got to help you out right there. Help
me. Come on.
Because I think the challenge is when you're scolding to kind of help behavior, you're exposing the things that you're scolding. And so if I have a stain on my shirt, and I know I have a stain on my shirt, to hear everyone walk up to me and say, you have a stain on your shirt, only further exposes the thing that I'm hoping nobody sees.
Wow.
I need somebody to walk up to me with a Tide stick, not an awareness. So when you walk up to me with an awareness of my stain, that doesn't help me. That only deepens my insecurity about my stain.
Wow.
So mom and dad used to walk better than what they walk. They used to think faster than what they think. They used to be less clumsy than what they are, right? And so for me to point those things out, it only deepens the insecurity of getting older, as opposed to saying, here's a tool to help you in the moment of your staying. And I think that's where we can empower them, is not by pointing out stuff that we see. Because I'm going to be honest with you, my mom still thinks she's 40. My mom accepts the fact that she's 70 something, right? I think she's 75 maybe. She accepts that. She looks amazing. And she tells people, how old do you think I am? And they give her age. She says, I'm 75. And she says it with such joy. She says it with such joy. And so if you say things to her like, Mom, be careful on that road, it's late, you guys act like I'm blah, 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 right? So no one wants to be made to feel like I'm getting old when that's the thing I'm trying to hide. I'm trying to hide the fact that I have a knee problem. No, you need to hear me. I'm not done. The sermon's not over. I'm trying to hide that I probably need a walker, but I'm not going to get a walker. I'd probably rather be in a scooter, but I'm not going to rent one at Convocation this year. And here comes my child in their boldness, scolding me for the thing I'm trying to hide.
Oh.
And so how do we support them without making them feel exposed in a way that is comfortable for them and yet gives them the care they need?
Well, you've been listening to, I'm just kidding. I was literally getting ready to end.
You're trying to end us.
Right. Can we go now? This has been so insightful. And thank you. I see some people here that I definitely want to just share that's on. I see Bishop Kwesi Smith. I see.
Yes, sir. He said my mama still fly. Yes, she is.
Oh, yes. I see Elder Samuel Davis. I see my sister, Lady Jenny Stevenson. I see Lady Erica Kelly. And there's so many more on here. I see my sister, Carla Blanton. Assistant Chair Lady Rhonda Rippey. I also see my sweet princess Jade. I mean, it's so many on right now, and they are, they're giving you a few accolades. I won't. Don't anybody out there tell them that I'm giving that y'all are giving them.
Now, this is my sister. She started this by saying blood couldn't make us closer, but I tell you, this is the most compliment snatching person I've ever met in my life. You throw a compliment at me, she gonna snatch that thing out the air before it even hits my ear.
That's right. So y'all can stop it in the chat with telling them how great this is and how much this is helping y'all.
Right.
But you know what? I do want to say this in all seriousness. Thank you so much for putting a light on what I have been doing. And I won't say wrong. It's just that I feel like my level of protection, sometimes it even brings me to tears. I'm like in full tantrum on the phone with my parents because I am bringing to light exactly what you said, what they are trying to actually honestly navigate themselves.
Yeah.
And it's a very difficult thing for them, even though they seemingly carry it well. But I think what you just shared was so powerful in that just like we are seeing them age, they already realize that they are there. Yes. And so when I'm saying out of just the gold heart that I have, Mama and Dad, you don't need to go to that. You need to stay home and get your rest. You're absolutely right. As opposed to almost exchanging, as you shared, exchanging something for what I'm asking, the priority. We need to learn how to exchange the priority. And Bishop Smith is sharing that his mom is in the process of moving there with him now. And so, when we're thinking about all of the times we are scolding our parents as if they are our children, because I do call my parents my children. And I think that, and 100%, I think with what you've just shared, I feel like that now could be a little bit offensive because I'm calling them my children because guess what? I want the benefit of being able to tell them what to do and they listen to me.
Yeah.
Just as if,
you say something because, if you think about it, when they parented us and some of us, we still lean on them for a lot of parenting. When they parented us, it wasn't just, we wanted the love, the support, the fun separate from the scolding. there was somebody, I don't remember who wrote it, but they said that there was a high percentage of any time parents were invested in their children, it was when they were scolding them for bad behavior. There was a high percentage of the intentional time parents had with kids was more about bad behavior than it was about the parent-child relationship. And we can easily slip into that same statistic with our parents, where the attention we give them is more about the behavior that concerns us than it is about us just being in a love relationship with them. And that's a balance that we have to manage. Is every time I pick up the phone, a scolding moment to my parents? Is every time I pull up a text, it's scolding? So if that's, think about that. On the other end, they're receiving scold text, scold call, scold email. On your end, you're saying they don't see I'm praying for them. They don't see you talking events, talking about how much you love them. They don't see that. All they see is the end result of your love, which is I need to tell you what to do. And I'm not just talking to you, we're in a conversation, but that's all of us. There's moments where I've stepped back from communicating with my mother about certain things because I was unclear on how to communicate it properly in a way where she was able to take it in. And so I had to step back because I knew the way that I was communicating things wasn't the way that she was able to take it. It wasn't palatable for her. So I have to rethink my conversation before I challenge her to rethink how she accepted my conversation. Am I saying it wrong? Is there a better way for me to say it? There's times where I've said things to her and then I called my siblings. There's 5 of us to say, hey, I had to share something with mom. This is what I shared. Did I overstep? Did I say too much? Was I too strong? And, they would right size it for me to let me know, no, that was good, or whatever the case may be. But it's important that we manage our communication towards them, that it's not just about the negatives, but they also feel the positive. The come to Jesus meetings. Why can't the come to Jesus meeting be about, let me tell you how amazing I want to spend some time and just talk to you about how much I appreciate the way that you guys are doing A, B, and C in your life. The celebration moments, the high five moments, the accolades, the award moments, right? They came to our programs. How are we showing up for them, right? When a parent is doing something, are we showing up? Are we pushing them? So I think if we want to take on that space of they're my children, you got to do the whole thing. It can't be about scolding. How are you showing up for them? How are you celebrating them? How are you empowering them? How are you loving on them? How are you pushing them? And how are you making sure that they hear and get the things they need? Preventative and reactive. So I think you got to do the whole thing.
Thank you so much for this insight. And once again, I just want to stop here and share that there are so many on right now that are expressing the fact that this is really helping them and it is serving the purpose for which we understand raising our parents and really learning, that's right, Carla, how to manage our communication with and amongst our parents. However, we do have a question here that's in the chat from First Lady Jenny Stevenson of Nashville, Tennessee, who's asking, could the scolding be derived from fear? And I want to just give you an opportunity to share from that perspective.
Absolutely. So background. So when my father had a stroke, my parents were home after a service, resting before that evening. And he had the stroke when he was getting up for evening service. So my mom was there with him. So she was able to tend to him, call 911, get him the support he needed in the moment. He was supposed to be out of town in Washington, D.C. by himself. Had he been in that situation, God only knows what would have happened to him if he was alone in the hotel room by himself. He may have expired. The reason I'm bringing that up is because of that, there's a lot of things where I think about my mom, where I'm saying, where are you going? You shouldn't be going there by yourself, right? Or why are you staying another night? You should come home. Or, things that have me thinking about that moment with dad. And now I have to, who's going to be there for you? So my mom right now, because we're all grown now, obviously we've all moved out the house. So there is that thought of, who's coming by, who's showing up. And so to your question, yes, a lot of that comes out of the trauma. But just as we tell parents, don't let your trauma bleed on your children. We can't let our trauma bleed on our parents. And so we have to make sure that we're giving them wisdom from a place of clarity, not a place of fear. Manage your fear, speak with clarity. Manage your fear, speak with clarity. And so even with my kids, I have to think through sometimes, this is what my concern is, but how do I share it in a way that they're going to receive it? And I think that's what we have to look at with our parents. My wife is on here. Shout out to Lady Tanisha Sims. But I think about her and her mom. She has such a sweet relationship with her mother, and her mother trusts her to give her advice. One of the reasons is because of how she communicates. She's never hot-headed. She's never coming in heavy. She's never mom wagging her finger. She's always giving her sage advice that's calm, that's able to be received. She waits for the right moment to share that in a moment where mom doesn't feel threatened or attacked. She waits until the waters are low. Sometimes it's let mom speak. Let's get off the phone and let me call her back at another time when things are a little more pleasant. And she does that masterfully. And I think we have to whatever the emotions, because it may not just be fear. The scolding could come out of frustration. It could come out of joy. It could come out of a lot of things. But let me manage it to make sure my communication meets the goal and not meets the fulfillment of my emotion. I don't want to fulfill my emotion. I want to meet the goal. And sometimes my emotion being fulfilled doesn't meet the goal in the other person. You all remember who are on here when you got spanked when you were a kid, right? Your parent probably felt better that they got it out, but it didn't make you a better student in school. Some of us still did the sneaky thing that we did. So the goal wasn't met, but the emotion of anger got out. And so we got to make sure we're not doing the same thing, that we're thinking through the emotion and then responding.
I really appreciate that, because it requires a high level of emotional intelligence and understanding how our care can actually be a deterrent to them even sharing things with us. And I often tell my parents, please don't stop telling me things because of how I respond. But I think what you just shared is so great in just saying I need to manage my communication first. And whatever I feel after they communicated, there's some things my parents have told me that I have immediately went off. I've gone to the left field and I have said,
touch your mind. We're praying that, hey, Vincent, is he in the room? We're praying that God still lets you into the pearly gates. We're believing God that you're going to make it.
Listen, because that would be the only reason why I won't. Because
the only reason.
I have certainly disobeyed the scripture. There is no honor, because I'm like, y'all are so hard. Like I am just like out there. And I'm outraged at sometimes because I am. And I mean, and when I say outraged, I'm just really being honest to say that some of the things that they share and that I'm trying to really press for them, such things as rest and prioritizing themselves over what I feel is not, So yeah, go ahead.
And well, because I want you to ask yourself, well, I want to ask you, and if you haven't, I want you to ask them, are they ready? Because I think we could push our parents into places they're not ready to be pushed into.
That's true.
You need to get rest. But have we asked them, are you ready to start resting? Because rest for someone that's older, I hate to say it, but I'm going to say it because I know we all love our parents. For someone that's older, especially when you get into your late 70s, your 80s, and your 90s, rest could start looking like the next step before death.
Right. Okay.
And so rest for us means so you can care for your body and live longer. Rest for them means if I start winding this down, it might get wound up. Right? So we have to be cautious that we're looking at it from two different perspectives. Rest for me at 47 is joy
He is not
and
47.
peace.
He's probably 68, but go ahead.
Wow.
47. 47. We'll stay there.
That's hilarious. I got you. Vincent. Um, listen, so it's different. My mind hears that differently. Someone that's older, they hear that as slowing down and stopping and turning it in and giving up and letting go. And there's still things in them that they know they have to get out. I saw your dad on a post the other day. I mean, he was going. I loved it. I loved it. The energy was there. The life was there. It was youthful. You could tell he still had energy. And so how do I share that with them without making them feel like it's over? Because sometimes our conversation can feel like you're done. You're wrapped up. It's over. Give it up when you're saying things like, aren't you resting? Why are you going? They don't need you there. When you do that, you're cementing the idea of you're getting old. It's almost over. We need to say things that give them positive feedback for what they need to do, in addition to the steps to get there. So to say things like, hey, the conference is coming up. What's your plan? Are you going to take vacation before, or are you taking vacation after? That's different than the conference is tomorrow and you still going. Again, to do it in the moment of the challenge is going to be hard for anybody to take. To be proactive and to be able to talk about, hey, there's a before and there's an after. Which one are we going to take a day and go to the spa? Which one are we going to take a day and just go hang out? Which one are you going to take off? I have a list of movies I want you to watch. I'm going to send them to you. I know you have the conference on Monday. Let's watch them together on Wednesday. I'm going to be in this city. You're going to be home in your city. You hear what I'm saying? So that we're able to show them I care, but I'm intentionally caring. I'm not problematically caring. I'm not caring in the middle of the problem.
Yeah, I've been very problematic in my care. I have to just listen. Confession is good for the soul. And let me tell you, let me put my soul out here. My soul has been problematic, Lord.
Yeah.
It has been problematic, and I know it's been a problem.
Yeah. And I'm gonna tell you, you all know my mother, and I love my mother. She is my heart. And there are moments where I have kept my mouth shut because I know my words will have no value right now.
I have not.
My
words have had no value.
But I was gonna say
that to me.
That takes some time. That takes time to get there. Because I mean, once you're getting bit by your parents at an older age, that spanking feels worse.
It does.
Right? That fuss feels worse. That fuss doesn't just send you to your room until dinner's ready. That fuss will be like, oh, well, I mean, let's be honest. That fuss is like, oh, well, go ahead and do it your way. Then go ahead, bye, bye, bye. You know, it'll shut you out.
It will shut you out.
It will shut you down. But we have to make sure that we're not allowing our emotions to get the best of us when our wisdom is. And I know I keep saying a lot, but at the end of the day, they're still adults. They're still adults. Yeah. They're still adults. They still have their own decision to make. And we got to respect that. We can't get mad when they don't go our way. Right? They want to go the direction they want to go, and we don't agree with it. We got to still respect it because that's important.
Well, aside from the fact that you are truly giving me some rough, tough love and insight and wisdom.
Honestly, you could have just called me. We didn't have to do this in front of 20, 30 people. I mean, that's your fault. That's your fault. You could have texted me and said, bro, I need to talk to you. And we could have just had a conversation. You're the one that wants to air all your business in front of all these people. You need attention that much.
Right.
You need attention that much.
Yes, I do.
You have scheduled time with a bunch of people to talk about your issues. I get it.
Right. And aside from all of what you just said, Vincent is side-eyeing me because he already knows the conversations that I can have with my parents. He gets off, I get off the phone and he's like, TK, you know, you really gotta chill. You know, it's not that serious. Your parents, they're living life, and you can't fuss about everything. You know, I fuss when my parents switch up a doctor's appointment. If I have it that they're getting ready to go to the doctor and they say, well, we changed our time. Why did you change? Like I've been problematic all around. So I've been a huge mess, and I can see, I can be okay to admit tonight that I do have to do better. Just like a lot of these other people on here, I'm definitely not
all of us. It's all of us. It's all of us. This happened a couple weeks ago. My mom shared with me some symptoms she was having. So I tried to diagnose her, and she said, no, that's not it. And I was like, oh, I felt some kind of way because you don't know. You told me I was trying to help you. She's like, that's not it. But again, I can't take that personal.
Right.
Because it's not a parent. Like my children right now, my young Addison, God bless her, she had a little fracture. And I can tell her, go take medicine. Right. I can tell Mason, I'm taking you to urgent care. Even if they don't agree or don't want to go, they have to, they will. These are adults, and these are adults that have been adulting longer than we've been adulting. Oof. And we have to learn that when they resist, we got to respect it. We have to respect their resistance, because we're not adults talking to children. We're adults talking to adults that adulted us. You got to respect the resistance and not get in your feelings when they don't come across the way that we want them, because they're not our children. They can't just take it. They can't just do it. And here's the deal. Ooh, I'm going to say this. You don't want your parents in a place where they only are able to listen to you. So my dad, all he can do is listen to me.
Oh, wow.
I would love for him to fight back.
Oh, wow.
I would love for him to argue back. I would love to be able to say, Dad, it's time to go to bed, and him tell me, you can't tell me what to do. I'll stay up as long as I want. I would love that. But my dad is in a position right now where the only thing he can do is what everybody else tells him to do. Wow. So we need to be grateful that we got parents that can fight back, talk back, clap back, because it means that God still has given them health and life and strength. And so while we're trying to keep them that way, let's also honor and appreciate God that they are that way. And yes, we don't want them to get worse because they're expending themselves so much. But in the moment, they're not there. So let's not allow our fear. This is back to Sister Stevenson. Let's not allow our fear to act like they're already in the hospital. Let's not allow our fear to act like they're already in the wheelchair. Let's not allow our fear to already act like they have tubes in their arms. Let's not allow our fear to act like they're already in hospice or in a nursing home or in a convalescent center. And sometimes our fear will put them there when they're not there, and we'll talk to them as if they are there. Let's appreciate the fact that they can still unlock and lock their own doors. Let's value the fact that they can still drive their own cars. Let's value the fact that they can still make their own food. Yes, Mom, you need to turn off the stove when you do it, but I'm grateful you can do it. Wow. Yes, Dad, you need to make sure that you're using GPS so you don't get lost out there, but thank God you can still drive. Yes, we're grateful you have your own place. You can still go up and down stairs, but just make sure you use the rail. And so we're honoring them for the blessing that they still are, the life they still have, the value they still have, while caring for them in a respectful way.
Well, Pastor Sims, I really, truly appreciate you for sharing all of that. And I think it's right here that I'm going to leave that, because we do have to come back and do another segment of this. I think this has been so helpful. And I think those in the audience have truly been blessed by your impartation, your wisdom, your insight, and how you have helped us tonight to truly navigate how to effectively raise our parents. And I guess tonight is saying that we're not raising them, right? We are actually joining in their life with them and helping them to enjoy life while we enjoy watching them enjoy life. Yeah. And so tonight, go right ahead. Go right ahead. Say what you
No. I had to clear my throat. Been talking too much.
Oh, okay. Well, tonight, what I have, listen, I've given my life back to the Lord.
Ha! What you mean give it back? It's your first time.
Foundation
It's
on
your
this
first
one.
time. You
Um,
finally repented.
yeah, and and it's really caused me really to have a different perspective, because I really felt like my help was help. It was truly care. But what I have really truly seen tonight is that what I've had has been a wall, and it has been a fear factor, and it has been, instead of just, mom and dad, you are enjoying life and I'm watching you enjoy this life. I have now had to check myself and say that I don't need to live in fear that my parents are aging, or that I'm watching them through this transition. But I need to be excited about the fact that they still have faculty and
Yeah.
activity,
Yeah.
and that they can move and they can think and they can go, and they do have life, and they have life to live.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you. But before we leave, I just want to again thank everyone who joined tonight. We're going to funnel this down. Thank everyone who's joined tonight. And also, once again, I want to shout out the Freedom Radio family, also who we're casting live on their platform tonight as well. Thank you all so much for joining in, chiming in. Thank you, young people out here. If you need to go back and watch this over again to gain some of that wisdom, please do that. But before we go, Pastor Sims, you are very talented and you have a myriad of things going on, one of which I want to bring to the fore before we leave tonight, and that is what you have noted as little wisdom. Will you please share a little bit about that and what project you may have in the making and what's coming, and how we be able to connect with you in what you have shared about little wisdom?
Absolutely. And so little wisdom, it was birthed out of moments that my children taught me in me parenting them. And so these quibs and these statements and these conversations I've had with them that were insightful, not just for the moment, but for life, for business, for career, for ministry, and things that just came out of their mouths naturally that really taught me as their father, not only how to parent them, but sometimes how to put it back into my life. Like, that made sense. I'll give you this example. I told my son to clean his room. I went in there fussing. Room was a mess. I said, clean it. I come back about an hour later and it looks worse. I went off. I'm not going to lie. I went off. My wife is on here. She'll tell you. My son says to me, Dad, I had to pull everything out of the closet, organize it so I can put it back properly. I got quiet, and I think the only thing I could say was, well, then hurry up, because duh, that made so much sense. And how many of us in life can use that level of wisdom? That when you're dealing with a messy relationship, a messy physical life, confusion in your brain, the smartest thing in the world is to pull all of it out, deal with it, organize it, straighten it, and then you can put it back to where it needs to be. That's why we go. That's therapy. So if we have a problem in our marriage, we go to a therapist, we sit down, we put it all out, we organize it, and then we put it back. And so it's those type of conversations that we'll be talking about in the book. It's going to be really 3 parts. One of them is little wisdom from children to their parents. And then it's going to be little wisdom from adult children to their adult parents. And then we're going to have a little wisdom series, where we follow this character. Her name is Wisdom, and it's a little girl in the traditional family home, and how her adventures teach her family things about life and growing up, and helps her parents. So Little Wisdom is the project we're working on. It's going to be a phenomenal project. It's really going to change how we look at parenting, how we look at the voice of our children, and how we utilize the voice of our children for not just our home, but for life in general.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you have heard it right here. You have heard Pastor Ryan Sims, and I know you have been blessed by him. I want to thank everyone who joined me tonight on this first episode of Churchish. Help, I'm Raising My Parents. Thank you so much, Pastor Ryan Sims, for your invaluable insights. This podcast shared with us tonight how roles are reversed, prayers are multiplied, and we as adult children of ministry leaders are learning how to effectively navigate the care with respect for our parents. Thank you all so much. This has been an amazing show tonight. I want to thank you so much, Pastor Sims, and thank you
I'm
personally.
honored to be here.
Yes, I'm honored that
You're my
you're here
sister,
with me.
and we've done a lot of lives together in the last maybe 10 years, definitely the last 5 years. We've done a lot of this together, and I'm just looking forward to us continuing to do it and
Yes.
having these type of conversations because they're needed. They're needed after the shout and the dance. You know, we got to go home to some real stuff. So this is wonderful.
Well, since you invited yourself back, that's perfect, and I'll be definitely.
Freedom Radio, if you're on here, just to be clear, she doesn't pay her guest. So I don't know if that violates any restrictions you will have on Freedom Radio.
Listen, blood could not make us any closer. Pastor Ryan Sims, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for this empowering conversation. We've had an amazing time tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, meet me right back here next Sunday night for the next episode of Church-ish. You have been tuned in to tonight, and we have had such a wonderful time. God bless each and every one of you. Pastor Sims, I feel led to do this tonight. I really would love for you to just say a prayer for adult children who are really trying their best to navigate this space. Please say a prayer for us tonight.
Absolutely.
That we build bridges and not walls, and that we learn how to continue walking through this with our parents as we help them to enjoy the life that God has blessed them with.
Yeah. Lord, we just thank you, God, for your peace. I pray, Lord, that you provide peace for every individual that is involved in a parent-child relationship where there may be fear, there may be impatience, there may be frustration. Lord, we thank you for your peace. Your word says that you will provide us peace that passes all understanding. I pray, God, regardless of what emotion we're feeling, let us land on that one, true peace in our hearts and our minds. We thank you, God, for our parents, whether they are disabled or even very able, that they are with us. And I pray, God, that you would give us the wisdom to know how to bridge over to them in their greatest time of need, to be the support that you've blessed us to be in their life. Lord, their parenting has raised us. We feel a debt that we owe them to empower them. So I pray, God, give us wisdom, give us clarity of thought, give us communication that will be palatable. So as we speak to them and work with them and develop them as an elderly person, that they'll receive it and they'll walk in it. We pray, God, that you open their heart to hear us, open our hearts to hear you. And I pray, Lord, that you would bless our relationships to be closer now than what they ever were, that we become a support to one another. We still need our parents. We still need their wisdom. We still need their love. And I pray, God, help us to realize how much we need them in addition to how much they need us. I also pray, Lord, the priorities of our parents, let them become our priorities, where we understand contextually what their needs are. Bless us not to be so focused on what we think is right that we miss out on what they believe is right. Let our help for them be empowering to them, strengthening to them, to where we cover them, we don't expose them. And we bind the enemy now that wants this relationship to be broken because of or misunderstood, miscommunicated thoughts and ideas. Thank you, God, for your help. Thank you for your healing in hearts and minds. And I thank you for the wisdom that shall flow from us onto our parents as they grow. In the name of Jesus, we pray. Amen. I want to leave you all with this. This is your parents' first time being elderly. This is their first time being elderly. They've never done this before. Have patience with them as they learn this new space they've never been in, and a space you've yet to be in. So patience is key as we all learn this new space called having an elderly parent in our lives. So be patient as you move forward. God bless you.